I am Daniel. Welcome to Insights News, your latest arts industry update. Here is our first story. Scotland's creative sector faces a precarious future despite increased arts funding. Creative Scotland warned up to a third of organisations risk insolvency, while the government restored £6.6 million cuts and pledged £100 million by 2029. The sector argues more investment is urgently required to save jobs and livelihoods. With rising costs and economic instability, arts leaders must act quickly, enhancing cash flow, exploring additional funding, clearly communicating with stakeholders, and seeking restructuring advice to mitigate personal liability risks. Though challenges abound, early intervention and proactive measures offer the best chances of survival. In our second story, Scotland's National Galleries, responsible for many beloved attractions and priceless art treasures, warned it risks scaling back programming or closing galleries due to projected deficits. Despite receiving £26 million, officials said government funding covers less and less of operating flagship sites. With 95% of direct funding spent on salaries in the coming year and a mandated 5% cut to running costs, the organisation argues that increased support is urgently needed not just to display collections in Edinburgh, but to enable their availability across Scotland, with rising energy bills also exacerbate funding gaps. Finally, UK Shadow Culture Secretary Thangam Debonair pledged that identifying new arts funding sources will be a top priority if Labour wins power. With many cultural organisations facing economic hardship, she vowed to search broadly for investment opportunities not currently championed enough. Though unable to promise an immediate windfall, Debonair condemned years of cuts by successive governments and said Labour would shift power to local authorities, giving communities more resources and decision-making authority to grow cultural infrastructure and talent.
Thanks, Daniel. I'm Matthew, and here's what's on. National Theatre of Scotland's protest will be showcased on January 26th and 27th at the Traverse Theatre in Edinburgh. Jekyll and Hyde will be at the Royal Lyceum in Edinburgh from 13th to 27th of January, followed by a tour across Scotland. And on January 25th, National Theatre Live presents Dear England. The play will explore why England's men can't seem to win at their own game. For more details, visit ntlive.com. Lastly, the Grey Hill have launched Wolf of Badenoch. The story is based on the true story of Alexander Stewart and can be accessed for £4.99 from the Gaiety Theatre or Dumfries Royal. Alternatively, you can subscribe to the podcast from the theatre venues or Apple Podcast and Spotify. That's all for this week. Now back to Barry.